Welcome to the Delhi Township Board of Trustee meeting, October 25th, 2017. We will begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by moments of silence. The moment of silence tonight is for all the victims of the California wildfires. May the families receive strength and aid needed to reconstruct their lives.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, approval of minutes, Mr. Luby.
Motion 2017-214, approve the minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting held on October 11th, 2017, and dispense with the reading.
I move motion 2017-214.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Motion 2017-215, approve bills for payment.
I move motion 2017-215.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes.
Motion 2017-216, approve the payment of overtime for pay period ending October 10th, 2017.
I move motion 2017-216.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes. Report from the fiscal officer, Mr. Luby.
Resolution 2017-280, resolution approving purchase order obligations incurred on behalf of the township by the township administrator, authorizing payment of certain purchase order obligations and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
As far as significant transactions since the last meeting, we had three checks to Barrett Paving totaling $178,000. Payroll on 10/19 was $254,000. As far as receipts, we did receive $48,000 for our cable franchise fee. We had $25,000, most of which was from the local government fund, and we had $20,000 for the permissive motor vehicle tax. That's all I have.
Okay. Trustee correspondence. Trustee Seavey?
Yes, well, I'd like to thank and congratulate the Delhi Business Association on a wonderful event in Delhi Park last Saturday called Delhi Dog Days. We had a great response, lots of dogs, lots of kids, lots of fun, and I think that was a great way to end the summer season in the park, so we're all now signing up for the Delhi Business Association Christmas Parade.
Thank you. Trustee Oswald?
13 days away from Election Day, but who is counting, right? There's been a lot of nonsense. Everyone knows what's going on. I know myself. I've been a victim of anonymous letters, personal attacks, yard signs, false rumors, that kind of thing is going around. But I truly believe that it's none of the candidates or their campaigns. I know each candidate. I know them personally. I truly believe it's not. There's other people doing this. It is what it is. But all I'm saying is when you vote, research the candidates, research the issues, talk to people, be informed to go out and vote. Because the two most important civic duties we have, jury duty and voting. And there's projected 20% turnout, which is going to be very low because there's not a lot of issues on the ballot. November 7th, vote. You do your civic duty.
Thank you. And I don't have anything this week. Thank you very much. Okay, special presentations. Who's going to do this? Chief? All right.
Thank you, Board of Trustees. I appreciate it. We're here tonight to honor two officers with a life-saving ribbon. And the victim is not here, but just to give you a little brief, and Firefighter Kramer might be able to explain a little bit more, but she did recently come home after a cardiac arrest. Found out there's some other underlying conditions that she has. She's 34 years old. She's not here today, but she is at home. And I thought it'd be best Firefighter Kramer could come up and kind of tell a story.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So I was working with Station 36. I was the acting officer that day, and we were dispatched into a southeastern street in Delhi for a cardiac arrest, somebody that was my age. As you heard, the outcome was favorable. Very good. She is back home. She's still got a long road to go, but everything's doing good. So I had wrote the chief a letter. He was out of town, and then got forwarded to Lieutenant Braun, PD, and then and I'm just going to go ahead and read what I wrote to them. So I wrote on Monday, Medic 36 was dispatched to a southeastern street in the township for a non-breather. While the run came in, we had a member out completing an inspection on the northwest side of the township. In addition to that, due to the location of the incident, Quint 33 was slightly delayed. That left me and one other guy on the scene for about 3 minutes by ourselves. Officers Michael Gertie, Joe Goddard, along with trainee Chet Williams, who's not a trainee anymore, so if I refer to him as a trainee, I apologize. They not only retrieved the tools that we needed, but they actually knew what the tools were. So when I asked for them for something, they knew what they were, where to get them, and why I needed them. In addition to that, they stepped up big time in rotations for compressors during CPR, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I put long story short, these guys helped out big time. We spoke with the ER doctor later that evening, and they said that they think that she's going to make it. I put in my letter to the chief, I vow the next time your officers need my help apprehending a suspect, I will pay it forward to them.
Wow.
So I put, he quickly said that's not going to happen. So on a serious note, this is continued in the letter. On the serious note, I want you to know these guys stepped up big time for the patient. As of right now, it looks like their training has proven to be beneficial. Sergeant Murphy approached me and he told me, he said, let me know if she does make it. I'd like to put my guys in for a life-saving ward. And then Lieutenant Braun also said that, and my reaction to both of them was no. That's not kind of how I operate on the fire side of things, and I was against it. Lieutenant Braun then defined to me, which I'm assuming you're going to define later, what the life-saving award is for the police department, and then I changed my opinion 180 degrees, and he'll explain why. Some people were saying that perhaps CPR is their job, and I just have a couple points as to what's not their job. It is not the PD's job to continuously beat us in on these runs. And what I mean by that is when I show up, they're already there. That's not their job. It is not their job to continue CPR after I arrive, meaning when I show up and I say to them, Officer Goddard, can you please continue? It's not his job to do that, yet he did. It's not their job to retrieve equipment, something that I have never done for the police in the 10 years that I've been here at Delhi. I try to, but they won't let me. One thing that Officer Williams did was he kept a timer for us. I know that sounds silly, but he did it, and that's not his job. And it's not their job to stand and act as an IV pole, which somebody did as well, standing there holding the IV solution for us. And I know it kind of sounds like a joke, but this is all very serious matter here. So I went on, and I'll kind of wrap this up. I recently had a cardiac arrest that I took to the hospital, and at the hospital there were 7 compressors standing in a line rotating every 2 minutes, 7. There was one person keeping time. There were a dozen or so ER nurses, and there were at least 6 doctors that were seeing this patient, not the one that I'm speaking of, but another one. On this particular detail, I had 6. I had 2, 3 minutes later I had a third, and then 1 minute after that I had 3 more. One of those 6, I think it was his second shift. I don't know, Chief, if you remember that or not, but I think it was his second shift, and I remember my second shift, and that would not have been good. With the 3 officers that stuck around and helped out the way they did, that made it 9. So we went from 6 to 9, which is still a little low, but obviously you can see why that's beneficial. So we asked the question, did these officers save her life? I can't answer that. But I do know that in the 12 and a half years I've been doing this business, I've had one person leave the hospital standing, and that is this patient here. That being said, I hate to think of what would have happened had these officers not helped. So I completely endorse what's happening tonight. I thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Let's make no mistake about it. She wouldn't have made it if Firefighter Kramer wasn't there either, so he cuts himself short. And when I talked to Chief Campbell about doing this evening, I asked if we wanted to recognize Firefighter Kramer, and his response was, that's what we do. It's expected of us. And I think it's expected of us too. We're not going to stand by and just wait. I'd also like to recognize Mike Gertie. He was also present. The three of them going to the life squad, fire truck, getting equipment and so forth. But with that, I'd like to introduce Joe Goddard and Chet Williams. Joe, how many years do you have on? 5. Chet, and how many months do you have on? 6 months, and you were right in the beginning. He was your 2 months in. Field training officer at the time together, so they were together in the same car. So I'm sure she's grateful the two of you were there, and also firefighter Kramer and everybody else. But we have these ribbons that it's only the second time that I've issued them in 10 years, a life-saving ribbon, and the other one being a couple meetings ago. So with that, they can display them proudly on their uniform, and I'm sure every time they put it on, they look at it, they'll remember Julie. And I also was advised she's on her way up here, so she'd like the two of you to stay here so she can meet you. Absolutely. And firefighter Kramer. Ready? Thank you.
All right. Again, I cannot say enough how much we are proud of our fire and our police department, and I always feel like we're in very, very good hands when one of them would show up at our door. Trustee Seavey?
Super job. I'm sure that the family is more than appreciative, and the coordination between the two departments is what just amazes me. It was terrific, and it was a great job done. Congratulations.
Trustee Oswald?
Said it 100 times. I think we have the best fire and police department in Hamilton County, and time it shows again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I just got a text. She's not coming.
She's not going to be able to make it? Okay. Would love to have met her, and glad she's still with us. Okay, we have a public hearing tonight. Community Development, Mr. DeLong, or Mr. Luby, please.
Motion 2017-217, approve the opening of the first public hearing concerning the application for the 2018 to 2020 Hamilton County Planning and Development Community Development Block Grant Program.
I move motion 2017-217.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Mr. DeLong.
I'm first going to.
Wait a minute, let's let him leave. Hold on, I should have dismissed you, I'm sorry. Anybody that'd like to leave? Okay, Mr. DeLong.
Lost my crowd, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's nothing you said.
I'm first going to apologize. I'm going to be doing a lot of reading because there's points I have to hit on as requirements for this application. So really tonight we're doing the first of 2 public hearings. The next meeting, or the next public hearing, will be at the November 8th meeting. We are here tonight to present the 2018 through 2020 CDBG block grant. While the township receives its funding through Hamilton County, the Hamilton County receives this funding ultimately through HUD. This funding is based every year on what they receive from Congress when Congress does its budget. So right now, we don't know when this money is going to be released next year, but it's going to be released at some point. They first have to get their budget in order. The amount of funding received by the township is determined on many variables, including population, income levels, age of the people in the community, age of housing stock, quality of housing stock, and economic stability. CDBG funds funding is restricted to projects that benefit businesses in low to moderate income areas, benefit low to moderate income households, and remove slum and blight conditions. I know that a lot of people kind of get a little nervous when we talk about low to moderate income levels. That is determined by HUD. We are also, the Cincinnati region also entails Middletown. So for instance, a low moderate income level would be an individual of one making less than $41,850. So that's a pretty good chunk of change. I would have been qualified coming out of college to be a low moderate income individual. So that is the minimal number, and it does increase per the number of people in a household. So what can the funding be used for through the CDBG programs? It can be used for improvements to public facilities. Some of these are limited by income eligibility. ADA improvements to any publicly owned facilities, including parks and senior centers. Improvements to senior centers in any areas, because there's a presumption that seniors are on a fixed income. Land and building acquisition for future projects, and demolition of outdated and blighted structures. Along with business and district plans. This would have been a good one we could have probably used for Plan the Pike back in the day. But you can use it for that, or streetscape improvements, and also facade improvements. Improvements to public infrastructure in low moderate income areas, and that includes streets, and sidewalks and things like that. Things that CDBG funds can't be used for include private infrastructure improvements, acquisition or improvements to government buildings, unless it's for ADA improvements, acquisition or improvements for cultural or sports centers, acquisition or improvements to airports or hospitals, and maintenance or repairs to facilities or infrastructure. In the past, Delhi Township has had, here's a list of 4 projects I put up here. As you can see, in 2007, we did the Wilkie Basil Lane rehabilitation. 2009, St. Dominic Valence Street rehab. 2013, we did Brook Forest and Shaker Drive. And then here in 2015, we're able to do the Senior Center parking lot with a complete repaving. In 2018 through 2020 cycle, the township is eligible for $173,166. We do plan on applying for up to $250,000. There are some communities in the region that refuse the money, so it goes back into the pot. So we are going to go for $250,000. That was a recommendation from Hamilton County. We are guaranteed the $173,000. So staff has been looking at some projects already, just to kind of get the ball rolling. So as you can see on the screen, some of the projects we have pretty much considered so far are the Senior Center roof replacement, paving of paths at Storywoods Park, and this is for ADA accessibility, paving of the play area for ADA accessibility at Delhi Park, replacement of turnout gear for the fire department, demolition at 4835 Delhi Pike, that's the old bank building. We did make an application for that through the Economic Development Grant. I kind of got an answer that you may want to put that in this one. So I got a feeling we probably didn't get that grant. So we're going to put it in this one. And if we do get the additional funds up to $250,000, we'll add the Beach Meadow Lane rehab. And that's just for a portion of Beach Meadow. So those are the projects we're thinking about at this point. So what are the next steps? Right now we're collecting public input. So we want the public to submit projects or ideas to us. I've set an November 3rd deadline on that, so we can get the ball rolling on that, because we have to have the second public hearing on November 8th. So at that night, we're going to get into the project specifics. We'll talk about, for sure, the projects we're going to do. We're also going to do the dollar amounts allocated and what year we're looking at doing those. For instance, the fire apparatus, we're looking at spreading that out over 3 years. So to kind of get them on schedule for their rehab of their turnout gear. So that's kind of where we are right now. So right now it is, like I said, this is just the first public hearing. It's just to kind of go over the program itself. Next public hearing, we'll get into the projects specifics. So do you have any questions for me at this point?
Is this on the website? If they want to
We
check
can
to
put
see.
we can put it up for
Yeah,
everybody.
so that if you have an idea for a project, you can go back to the website and see if it's applicable.
We'll just take any comments right now. Some of the stuff gets a little dicey. You know, if you read it, it says public infrastructure. Well, what does that mean? So certain things, like for instance, the fire turnout gear falls under public infrastructure. It's kind of an odd category for it to be under. But yeah, what I can do is probably also link Hamilton County Community Development's website to it, which does have a breakdown of kind of eligible projects. So we can do that.
Okay. Trustee Oswald?
The previous slide, you had the projects numbered 1 through 5 or whatever it was.
Yep.
There it is. And I would probably emphasize that's no particular order as to priority.
There is no particular order to those. We, at this point, with the amount of money we're guaranteed, know we can do the top 5.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to read that and say, wait a minute,
No.
why are you putting senior center above,
No.
that kind of thing.
Now, when we do make application to Hamilton County, we do have to prioritize the order of the project. So if you do have feedback on that, please let us know. So we do have to prioritize our applications. We'll still get funded, but it's kind of as funding is released. There's certain amounts every year. For instance, we'll get roughly about 115,000 for, broken out the first 2 years. So we have to kind of prioritize to make sure what we're asking for isn't going over that dollar figure. So if you do have a priority list, let us know or let me know.
All right, it's good to know. Okay, anybody in the audience have any questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. DeLong. Okay, Mr. Luby.
Motion 2017-218, approve the closing of the first public hearing concerning the application for the 2018 to 2020 Hamilton County Planning and Development Community Development Block Grant Program.
I move motion 2017-218.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, administration.
Resolution 2017-281, resolution authorizing renewal of the township's property and casualty insurance through Ohio Plan Risk Management, Inc., authorizing the township administrator to execute and deliver necessary documents, and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2017-282, resolution authorizing amendment number 1 to the master agreement with Dynegy Energy Services East, LLC, authorizing the township administrator to execute necessary documents, and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Cameron?
Yes, ma'am. I can briefly explain the need for this. This is our electric supply, the aggregated pricing that got put in place recently. It's a fixed rate for 3 years, 5.49 cents per kilowatt hour. I had been asked about a green/renewable rate that some other communities had and put out. So I reached out to our broker and they asked Dynegy about the option. And they said, sure, we can do that. You'll need to approve this new addendum to the agreement. So our current rate is 5.49 cents. It's fixed rate. This would be 5.59, which is similar to what other communities have had, just that little bump if people would like to choose a renewable/green rate for their supply. So that's what this is for, and we'll put that on the website. Letters have been hitting, so people have been calling and asking questions. So this is kind of in response to that.
Okay, thank you.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Okay, Parks and Recreation has no agenda items tonight, so we'll move on to Community Development, please.
Resolution 2017-283, resolution certifying violation abatement expenses at 4081 Delhi Pike to the county auditor for assessment, and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. DeLong?
I have no comment on any of the assessments tonight unless you have any questions, but tonight you do see before and after photos, and all of these were for excessive vegetation, which our contractor, Allison Landscaping, took care of for us. So.
Okay.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2017-284, resolution certifying violation abatement expenses at 343 Robin Lane to the county auditor for assessment, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2017-285, resolution certifying violation abatement expenses at 525 Pedretti Road to the county auditor for assessment, and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2017-286, resolution certifying violation abatement expenses at 945 Beach Meadow Lane to the county auditor for assessment and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2017-287, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation and accumulated debris at 5127 Mount Overno Road and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. DeLong?
Yeah, this is a first-time offender here at 5127 Mount Averno Drive. As you can see, there is debris that is located in the driveway with the excessive vegetation actually in the rear yard. We did do an inspection of this property this morning. It's still in the same condition, so we do request to declare it a nuisance.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with the second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2017-288, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 448 Hillbrook Drive and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. DeLong?
Yes, this is 448 Hillbrook Drive. As you can see, there's excessive vegetation. It is throughout the property. This, again, is a first-time offender. We're not sure if the house is occupied or not, but as you can see by the photos, it's not been taken care of with the length of the grass and stuff. So we did inspect the property this morning, and it was still in the same condition, so we do request to declare it a nuisance.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2017-289, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 1032 Beach Meadow Lane and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. DeLong?
Yeah, as you can see at 1032 Beach Meadow Lane, there's accumulated debris. This is a multiple repeat offender, unfortunately for us. The property was in the same condition as you see in the pictures as of this morning, so we do request to declare it a nuisance.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2017-290, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 5414 Lariat Drive and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. DeLong?
Yeah, this is an occupied structure and a repeat offender at 5414 Lariat Drive. The excessive vegetation is only located in the rear yard, so we did do an inspection this morning. It's still in the same condition. We do request to declare it a nuisance.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second the motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Libby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Thank you. Okay, no agenda items for Public Works this week, so we do go on to the Police Department, please.
Motion 2017-219, accept resignation of Police Clerk Lynn Dolan, effective November 1st, 2017.
I move motion 2017-219.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes, motion carries, and Lynn will be greatly missed, I'm sure, by the department and by the township. She's been a great asset to us. Okay, Fire Department.
Resolution 2017-291, resolution acknowledging and consenting to the assignment of the Master Services and License Agreement between Safety Pad, Inc. and Delhi Township to ESO Solutions, Inc., authorizing the fire chief to execute necessary documents and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Chief Campbell?
Yes, thank you, trustees. This is very simple. Our patient care reporting company was bought out by ESO Solutions, and that is the company now that is asking us to remain in the agreement with them for providing services. So
Terms the same?
terms are the same. Nothing changes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
Second motion to dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Your motion 2017-220, accept the resignation of part-time firefighter EMT Garrett G. Fuller, effective October 22nd, 2017.
I move motion 2017-220.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, we have no citizen comments submitted for tonight, so we'll move into announcement of community events.
The St. John's Community Trunk or Treat will be Thursday, October 26th. It'll be from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. It'll be at St. John's Westminster Union Church at 1085 Neeb Road. The Community Halloween Trick or Treating will be Tuesday, October 31st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The Delhi Park Aces and Ales Euchre Tournament will be Friday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. It'll be at the Delhi Park Lodge at 5125 Foley Road. Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th. Polls open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. The Delhi Branch Library Program, Eyewitness to Pearl Harbor, One Soldier Story, will be Thursday, November 9th. It'll be from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Delhi Branch Library at 5095 Foley Road. The Delhi Township Veterans Association Veterans Day Ceremony will be Sunday, November 12th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. It will be at the Veterans Memorial Park at 934 Neeb Road. The Delhi Historical Society Program, The Great War, Ohio Journeys to World War I, will be Monday, November 13th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Delhi Park Lodge at 5125 Foley Road.
All right, thank you. Before I adjourn the meeting, reminder, our next meeting is Wednesday, November 8th, the day after the elections at 6 p.m. And please remember to come out and vote on November 7th.
There being no further business to be brought before the board, I move we adjourn.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.